It was supposed to be another exciting night on The Late Show with Stephen Colbert, with none other than Tom Cruise taking the guest seat. Known for his high-energy interviews and unwavering charm, Cruise has always been a favorite among late-night audiences, but what happened on this particular night was far from a typical Hollywood promotion tour. Things started off smoothly. A Colbert joked about Cruise's age-defying stunts and Mission Impossible, and Cruise, as usual, laughed along and shared thrilling stories about hanging off planes and jumping from cliffs. The audience cheered, unaware that the tone of the interview was about to shift dramatically and unexpectedly. As the interview progressed, Colbert leaned forward with a glint of mischief in his eyes. Known for occasionally throwing curveballs at his guests, he pulled out a tablet and said, "Tom, before we go on, I have something interesting here." Cruise raised an eyebrow, his smile unwavering, but when Colbert tapped the screen and a never-before-seen video began playing on the studio monitors, the room grew quiet. The footage was grainy but an old Scientology briefing, with Cruise speaking passionately about beliefs he rarely addresses in public. Cruise's face stiffened instantly, the charm vanishing in a heartbeat. Colbert tried to maintain the comedic tone, saying, "That's some intense motivational speaking, Tom. Still believe all that?" But the question wasn't lighthearted, it was probing, personal, and clearly not pre-approved. Cruise looked at Colbert, jaw tight, his body language shifting from relaxed to rigid. "I thought we were here to talk about my film," he said sharply, the tension now thick in the room. Colbert chuckled nervously, attempting to save face, but the damage had already been done. The audience sat frozen, unsure whether to laugh or stay silent. The mood was suddenly ice cold. Tom leaned forward, voice low and firm. "Stephen, when you invite someone on your show, there's a mutual understanding. We talk about the work, the journey, and not tabloid-bait or ancient footage that has nothing to do with tonight." His tone wasn't angry yet, but it was undeniably serious. Colbert raised his hands playfully and tried to shift the topic, but Cruise wasn't letting it go. "Is this ambush journalism now?" he asked, narrowing his eyes. "Or are we still pretending this is entertainment?" For a moment, the audience gave a nervous chuckle, but it quickly faded into silence. Once again, Colbert attempted a pivot, asking Cruise about an upcoming international shoot location, but the momentum was lost. Cruise kept his responses short, clipped, and clearly agitated. The enthusiasm from earlier had disappeared. He barely made eye contact and often looked toward the studio exit. The tension wasn't just between host and guest anymore, it had infected the entire studio. Crew members exchanged glances. The live audience, who had come expecting laughter and blockbuster stories, now found themselves watching an uncomfortable unraveling on national television. 10 minutes into what was supposed to be a light-hearted segment, Cruise removed his microphone mid-sentence. "I think we're done here," he said, standing up. Colbert tried to keep him seated, reaching out slightly. "Tom, come on, it was just a question, don't take it personally." But Cruise didn't even look back. "That's easy to say when you're not the one being disrespected," he said. With that, he turned and walked off the set. Cameras still rolling. The studio was silent for a full 10 seconds before Colbert awkwardly turned to the camera and said, "Well, that escalated quickly." Within minutes, the clip of Cruise walking off spread like wildfire on social media. Hashtags like #Cruise storms off and #Colbert clash began trending. Fans were split. Some supported Cruise for standing his ground, calling it a rare moment of raw honesty, while others criticized him for being overly sensitive. Meanwhile, entertainment journalists rushed to break down the altercation, with some citing long-standing rumors that Cruise enforces strict conditions before any interview. This incident only fueled those speculations, with anonymous sources claiming that the Colbert team had defied Cruise's advance media contract. Behind the scenes, Colbert's staff were reportedly divided about the move. Some believed it would drive ratings and stir conversation, which it undeniably did. Others felt it was a breach of professionalism, arguing that ambushing Cruise with controversial content was disrespectful, especially when he had come on to promote a film. CBS executives were also allegedly caught off guard, and emergency meetings were held the next morning to discuss potential fallout, both in terms of Cruise's team and future guest relations. Cruise's representatives issued a statement hours after the show aired, saying, "Tom has always appreciated honest dialogue, but there's a line between curiosity and ambush." Tonight's interview crossed that line. They also hinted that Cruise would not return to The Late Show in the future. The tone was firm, not explosive, but it signaled a major rift. Colbert, on the other hand, did not issue an immediate apology. On this following night's episode, he made a tongue-in-cheek reference to the incident, saying, "Note to self, don't surprise Tom Cruise unless you're hanging off a helicopter." Fans of Cruise took to his defense passionately. Clips of past interviews showing Cruise's kindness, professionalism, and humor were posted with captions like "This is who Tom really is." Others accused Colbert of intentionally provoking the actor to gain viral views. The conversation quickly spilled into discussions about media ethics, celebrity boundaries, and the growing trend of gotcha journalism in entertainment. It wasn't just a viral moment, it was a cultural flashpoint about how far late-night shows could or should go in pursuit of a reaction. Interestingly, several fellow celebrities publicly supported Cruise. Actors like Russell Crowe, Viola Davis, and even Dwayne Johnson commented online or during interviews that interviews should be a space of mutual respect. "We've all been on the receiving end of unexpected digs," said Johnson during a podcast, "but when someone comes to promote a film, that's what it should be about, not dragging out their personal history to bait drama." This celebrity solidarity only bolstered Cruise's public image, painting him as a professional who values principle over PR stunts. Meanwhile, some critics argued that Colbert was simply doing his job, pushing boundaries and exploring the fuller picture of his guests. Celebrities can't just use the media for marketing without expecting tough questions, one prominent journalist tweeted, but others countered that this wasn't a political interview, it was entertainment, and there are still rules of engagement. The debate turned philosophical quickly, dividing audiences by values as much as by fandom. What was clear was that this moment had struck a nerve deeper than a single awkward TV segment. Despite the backlash, Cruise continued promoting his film elsewhere, appearing on more controlled platforms like Good Morning America and The Graham Norton Show. He was back to his usual charming self, cracking jokes and enthusiastically recounting stunts. But behind that smile, many speculated, was a lingering bitterness over how things went down with Colbert. There are even rumors of Cruise considering stricter media guidelines for all future appearances. The incident may have left scars, but it also served as a lesson in public image resilience and media boundaries. In the weeks following, ratings for The Late Show saw a temporary spike due to the controversy, but audience polls showed mixed feelings about Colbert's handling of the interview. Some longtime viewers felt he'd crossed a line, while others admired his willingness to ask uncomfortable questions. For Cruise, the moment became another layer in his long, complex relationship with the media, a reminder that even the most practiced celebrities can be caught off guard. But if anything, it also showed how unwavering he can do when pushed too far. Ultimately, the clash between Cruise and Colbert wasn't just a celebrity squabbly, it was a mirror reflecting bigger questions about celebrity culture, privacy, and the nature of modern interviews. Was it fair game, or was it a betrayal of trust? Audiences will debate that for years to come, but what no one could deny was that this was a moment of unscripted reality, a peek behind the Hollywood curtain where the mask slipped, and real emotion took center stage. And as Tom Cruise walked off that set, he may have exited the show, but he walked straight into the headlines once more.